See what we got on tap for tomorrow at Baum Walker Stadium. It is going to be cold. It is not going to rain. You might have some rain on Saturday, but it's as far as I'm concerned, it's picture-perfect baseball weather because I need to get my eyes on this baseball team. Matt Hobbs is going to be there, of course, as the Arkansas pitching coach. And we are 3 weeks away from the start of college baseball season. Matt, I wish we had more than just like 10 or 12 minutes because I feel I could talk pitching and baseball with you for like 2 days at a time. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Phil. The feeling is mutual.
Good. So I don't know how you shake all this out for this pitching staff. The only reason is just the pure number of pitchers that are talented, and there's only so many innings and so many scrimmages and so many games. It just, for me, it just feels like you'd say, well, it's a good problem to have, but I just don't know how you shake out this pitching staff, and you get a lot of questions. Who's going to start? Who's going to close? All of this. There are no answers right now, right?
No, I think that's, and nobody probably wants to hear this, but that's the strength of the staff is that there are no answers right now. That there are so many guys that are good and competing for spots, whether it's rotation spots, midweek spots, leverage bullpen, closer. It just seems like every time we run another guy out there, you're looking at him like, yeah, that guy could be a starter, or that guy could be your closer, or that guy's your setup guy, or there's a 6th, 7th inning guy right there. And it's like every time you run one out, you feel like you have a guy that can fill some of those roles. So it is I wouldn't say it's a problem as much as it is just we have to figure out how to get the right pitchers in the right position so they can be successful. That's our challenge this year.
And so much of it too is like each of these pitchers grabbing a hold of the opportunities that they're given early in scrimmages and certainly early in the season because those moments leave lasting impressions. So it's like when you get that opportunity this year, and I guess it's the same in a lot of seasons, but I feel more about that this year because of the crush of talent on this team and really everywhere else. When these guys get their opportunity, they got to take it and run with it.
Yeah. The guys have, the good news about that situation, and you're right, it's going to come down to who performs at the end of the day, but they've come back in such good shape, from their break away from us that it's put them all in a position, vast majority of them in a position to be able to grab those opportunities. So, that when they get out there, they can perform from the first pitch of the first inner squad. You would assume that they would be, 100% ready to do that. From a health standpoint, they've just come back in such good shape, and the bullpens have been so good and so impressive to see where guys are at. There's a few guys that are way ahead of schedule, to be honest, and that's sometimes you got to slow those guys down a little bit, but it's a good thing that they've worked so hard. And that's been bred by the competition in the fall. I mean, you saw the fall World Series games and some of those things that were televised, and obviously the stuff that you and Bubba did. So you saw that there was competition, great deal of competition within the staff, and that has, I think, fueled the fire for a lot of these guys to get after it in the off season or the preseason, I guess, and come back in shape, ready to go, so that when they do get those opportunities in early scrimmages and early in the season, they'll be ready to grab them.
So a couple guys I want to ask about that felt like they might have emerged last year if the season didn't get canceled, and I'll watch one of them pitching tomorrow, Peyton Paulette, right-hander, big-time arm, and the other is Caden Monk, who I watched him pitch at the fall series, and he really looked incredible, and I've heard a lot of great things about him, too. Just, tell me, not what the ceiling of these two guys will look like, but for me, it feels like they could be really important pitchers for this team this year and moving forward.
No doubt, and I think that if the season plays out last year, I think Caden Monk becomes one of the better bullpen arms in the conference if it's allowed to play itself out. And he was on pace to do that, and he's done nothing but continue to get better. We started him all fall, and no one's saying that he's out of the mix to be a starter this spring. He could also fill like a little bit of a kind of a Swiss Army knife role in the bullpen where he could do a little bit of everything, and arguably fill one of the more valuable roles on the entire pitching staff. So he's a real high ceiling kid, obviously, and a guy that could fill an incredibly important role. And Peyton was, kind of trending that way. He actually threw the last 2 innings of our season against Grand Canyon and was starting to really try to put together some quality outings. And he had a good outing against Oklahoma down in Houston, and then, came back and was a little shaky against South Alabama, and then really put together a great outing in the last game of the season against Grand Canyon. And then, these guys went away from us for, 3-4 months, and he was lucky enough, and Caden was too, to go out and play summer ball and play for the Santa Barbara Foresters. Both those guys did that in addition to the PT League up here, and they both got a lot out of that, I think. And Peyton just has come back a completely different person from a maturity perspective, a year older now, and also just how he pitches and his stuff is so much better and different than it was last year. And, he's got a big arm, no question about that. And, in the fall, at times, he's 94 to 97. And he pitched kind of in the 90 to 94 mile an hour range for us last year. So you could see in him that there was going to be a little bit of a jump, but I had no idea it was going to be like this. I mean, it's been pretty electric.
I guess the phrase "big arm" is probably used more this year than in other cases, because it just seems, the velocity on your team. And I think you told Clay Henry this, that you've never seen. You've been around the block in college baseball, Matt. You have not seen a pitching staff with the sort of velocity, really, like 1 through 10 on that you have here on this pitching staff here. And I guess the question would be, the thing is, if velocity is one thing, but commanding it is another.
Right.
So those things have to work in tandem.
No doubt. And, I really never have seen velocity like this top to bottom on a pitching staff in my entire life, as a coach. But the impressive thing about some of these guys is how good their secondary stuff is to go along with that velocity and be able to throw strikes and be able to command the baseball. And you got a great mix on this pitching staff of older guys who are in their own right very talented, and younger guys who just have incredible ceilings in terms of what they could become. So it's a good mix of guys that have been through it a little bit. You got Zebulon Vermillion, who's been through it a little bit. You got Kevin Kopps, who's certainly been through it, and Cole Ramage has been through it, and Wick and Nolan who've been through it. So you've got guys that have been through this thing, and those guys are, and again, talented in their own right, but they've just been through the SEC, and they've postseason baseball, and then you got these young kids that are incredibly talented, and they've had to take their lumps in the fall and learn how to throw it over the plate and learn how to be able to throw multiple pitches, because the best thing about coaching at Arkansas is you have to go against this offense. And that's been really good for these guys. I think the other day in a scrimmage, we had a kid throwing 95 miles an hour, and Christian Franklin hit one off, not a scrimmage, I guess it was live ABs, but Christian Franklin hits one off the batter's eye. It's like, he's got to learn that he needs secondary stuff, and he's got to learn that he needs to be able to command it, to be able to get these guys out, especially the high-end hitters in our league.
I just ask about a couple more guys, and we only have like 4 minutes or so left here, and their names that are more familiar, I think, to fans recently. Caleb Bolden, I thought, might have been able to emerge last year. It looked like he was really starting to round into shape after the Tommy John surgery, and Connor Nolan is the other. And, Connor, the 2 games I watched him pitch in the fall, he didn't have a lot of success. I'd read where, maybe he's looked a little bit better recently, but where do they both figure in? Because, Connor usually has been a starter, and Caleb, I think, can start too, but just how have the two of them looked recently? Because these are veteran right-handers that, I expect the team might lean on some.
Yeah, for sure. Caleb came out of the fall one of our better guys in terms of just overall numbers and how he pitched. But he did a great job. This fall has come back in really good shape. And, it's going to be a guy that we're going to lean on in leverage situations, or we're going to lean on as a starter. And he's one of those guys in the mix to be able to grab one of the rotation spots, certainly. And he's done a great job. And he's really changed kind of the way that he throws the baseball over the past 18 months. And, coming back from Tommy John and being able to make those delivery adjustments so he can put himself in a more opportune position to remain healthy and also be able to, remain effective as a starter has been pretty impressive. And he was on his way last year. I mean, if you look at his numbers from last year, I think it was a sub 150 ERA and, about 17 or 18 innings pitched. So he was on his way, and he was coming off of some really good outings right when this thing shut down. So he's absolutely picked up where he left off. And then, yeah, it's no secret that Connor struggled this fall. I mean, anyone that saw him pitch or kind of heard about how he did, he was up and down. He was up and down all fall. He had some good outings, but he had some outings he probably wants back. And he's come back in shape like the rest of them and has looked really good. He threw a really good bullpen yesterday, and he had a good kind of live AB session the week before. So he's done the things that he needs to do to put himself in a position to compete. And I think that's really all you can ask, as a guy that's coming back, is put yourself in a position to compete for one of these spots, or put yourself in a position to compete to help the team. And Connor's such a good person that no matter where he pitches or what he does, he's going to do whatever he can to help. And, this kid's pitched in Omaha, this kid's pitched in super regionals, this kid's pitched in regionals. So he's been, like I said earlier, he's been through it, and you're going to have to you do lean on that experience because it matters.
All right, I want to ask a couple of different questions here, more about you as a pitcher and as a coach. When Matt Hobbs pitched, what was your best pitch, your go-to pitch when you needed to get a strike or you needed to get an out?
Just more times than not, I just needed to throw a strike. So I guess fastball was the only thing I could lean on. So being a really bad pitcher, I think, has hopefully made me a better pitching coach.
I've heard that from so many coaches, too. Like, great hitting coaches were bad hitters in so many cases. Do you have a pitch
I was not. You can... I have the statistics to back up how bad I was. So.
All right, well, I won't go find them, just in case. Do you have a pitch that you like to teach, ahead of all of the others? I know it's different pitcher to pitcher, depending on the sort of arsenal they have, but... is there a certain pitch that you would say, like, you've specialized or you teach the best?
I don't know that there's one pitch that I would say I specialize in, but I think that the pitch that becomes the most important to be able to teach these guys is to be able to throw a changeup. And we spend quite a bit of time developing that pitch with all the pitchers on our staff. But, statistically speaking, any pitch, a changeup thrown after any one pitch the changeup's going to be more effective. And, we've been able to look at those things through some advanced analytics that guys that throw changeups and can really execute changeups are going to be more successful over the course of their career. Starters, for sure, but even bullpen guys, too. So I think that they get pigeonholed a lot with if they're coming out of the bullpen, it's a fastball slider or it's fastball curveball. And, why can't it be fastball changeup slider? Why can't their changeup be their best secondary pitch? And, we have a couple guys on this particular pitching staff that are going to pitch that way. And I think that the changeup is a huge pitch in college baseball just because hitters at this level see more fastballs and breaking balls than they see anything. So being able to develop their changeups and being able to spend time on that, I think is really, really important. So I know that we put a lot of emphasis on that pitch all season, and I think it's incredibly important.
It's funny that it's like the yin and the yang. We start the conversation talking about velocity, and there's more velocity on this staff than maybe any other you've ever seen. And then we end the conversation with the total opposite end of it. You got to learn how to throw the slow pitch because everybody can hit a fastball, right?
Everybody in our league, everybody in the SEC or high-level college baseball can figure out how to hit a 95, 96, 97 mile an hour fastball. But guys that can mix and guys that can command the strike zone and guys that know who they are as pitchers is really the secret here. It's not about, it's cool to throw hard, no doubt about it. And trust me, I like it as much as anybody, but their ability to command the zone and be able to have access to the strike zone with different pitches and different spots, that's really the most important thing for all of these guys. And, looking at the list of these great, talented pitchers, it's going to come down to who can command the strike zone effectively, who can handle the SEC, who can handle the stage, who can handle, opening weekend down in Texas, who can handle these things. And I think the most important thing is their ability to be able to lean on where they can access the strike zone and with what pitches and how they can do that is the most important thing, more than anything. More than throwing 95, 96 miles an hour is getting it in the zone and being able to trust their stuff and attack the white thing.
Gosh, I love talking pitching with you, Matt. Thank you so much. This really felt good. Can't wait to see the team over the weekend, and looking forward to seeing you at Baum Walker tomorrow afternoon.
Heck yeah, man. We're really excited about it, and thank you very much for having me on.
You got it. That's Matt Hobbs, Arkansas pitching coach, joining us in SmackDown and Matty T.
Yo.
You were the ones that were supposed to make me, feel a lot better than when I spit coffee all over this.
Did we not do it
earlier in the show? Matt Hobbs just made me feel as much better.
Well, his name is Matt, so technically you didn't specify
he
us.
Fits.
He fits.
He
yeah.
fits with the rest. I didn't
fit,
think about that. Hey, RV show pricing has arrived at Wheels RV in Springdale. Skip the lines and crowds. Shop the industry's best brands at Northwest Arkansas's premier RV dealer. Plus, got the lifetime warranty, RV storage, mobile service shuttle. Owning an RV has never been easier. That's Wheels RV, 5 miles west off Exit 72 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV, also at wheelsrv.net. Halftime homework closes it up next.